The Morning Huddle Construction Show is fortunate to have 5 sponsors for Season 7, helping us to spread the word and create positive change in the construction industry. And we want to give a shout out to each of them and thank them now. First is Katz Abosch. This is a middle market accounting firm with a deep specialization in construction, tax, audit, accounting, fantastic group of people. Next is Lawrence Law. This is a boutique law firm that works with contractors and helps them with their day-to-day legal needs as well as all of their most significant legal challenges that they might run up against. Lawrence Law. Then we have Sandy Spring Bank, which is a regional bank in Maryland with a group of people who really understand what the needs of construction businesses are and who partner with you to achieve your financial aims. So Sandy Spring Bank. And then we have Marsh McLennan Agency, bonding and insurance professionals who really just have unparalleled insight into the construction industry. They're the best in the business. And then lastly, we have Genesis AEC. And Genesis is a full service architecture, engineering, and construction management firm with a deep specialization in the life sciences industry. We also happen to have some of their folks help us with guest hosting from time to time.
Good morning. It's morning huddle time. Stacy Holsinger here. Chad is out today, so you're stuck with me. I just wanted to recap of what's kind of going on here at Steel Toe Communications. Yesterday, we were at the Worlds of Work event in Montgomery County, Maryland. This is an event that connects educators, employers, career counselors, and students all together about just different career options that are available, things that really important event. There's 3,000 kids that come through the doors. It's a very doable event over 3 days, just for a couple hours in the morning. The Worlds of Work event is not just in Maryland. This is actually something that different states do, so you can get involved that way. It's super important to be involved in these things in our community to connect kids to career opportunities. For example, yesterday we were speaking to a couple hundred eighth graders and we were quizzing them on just simple questions like who installs the lights in this building, and no one knew, or who fixes your toilet or your faucet, and they did not know the answer. And that breaks my heart so bad. And this is where we need contractors to really be involved in things like that. There's so many different opportunities. Don't just stick to your typical career fairs to get out there and get the word out there about careers in construction. We're competing with other contractors for the war on talent, but we're also competing with other industries. I go to these events all the time. There was about 160 employers that showed up yesterday, and only 1% were contractors. That's a huge problem that we're not showing up for our community to let them know what careers there are in construction. Most of the kids were just like a construction worker. And I said, well, tell me more about that. There's about 22 trade options, and they had no idea. So I'll get off my soapbox with that. And I'm gonna bring in my guest, Ryan. He's gonna talk more about kind of this topic about how to strengthen your company's reputation and make trades a top career choice. So with that, welcome, Ryan. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you, Stacy. It's a pleasure to be here.
So tell us a little bit about what your company Core Matters does, and maybe an intro on how you got into the construction industry.
Yeah, well, I grew up in a blue-collar family. My dad was an owner-operator. We probably all know somebody like that. They have this dream of going out on their own, thinking, hey, I'll make more money, I'll have more time, I'll get to do all these things that I want.
Mhm.
And then fast forward 5 years and they're like, what did I do? Right? I have no time, I have no money. The business owns me. And, I thought for a long time that one of my dad's biggest problems was he was a tradesman. He was not a business owner. He didn't understand marketing and sales and bringing in more business. So as
Mhm.
I got older, I realized that what my dad's real problem was the lack of people that he could trust. That was the biggest challenge, is finding people he could trust. And he could find people. It's the trust part that was really difficult.
Mhm.
Uh, but it wasn't until after I'd started my business that I realized that. I started my business to help service contractors grow their business through marketing.
Mhm.
And it wasn't until a couple years later, they all came to me and said, I don't need leads, I need people. I've got empty
Mm.
trucks. I can't serve my
Right.
customers. That I said, well, let's go see if we can solve that problem. And step by step, over the next couple of years, I went on this journey of helping our clients solve it, whether it was sourcing new candidates, becoming an employer of choice that people are like, I want to work there, or
Mhm.
even helping them with the interview process and onboarding and retaining people. Because I don't believe we really have a hiring problem in the trades. I think we have a retention problem. We don't
Mhm.
know how to keep our people.
Mhm.
So over time, I developed the Core Fit hiring system, and that's what we do now at Core Matters. Is we partner with contractors and we help them implement these proven processes so that they can attract, hire, and retain the right people, those that they can trust.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the processes?
Well, one of the things that we all have heard and we believe is people don't leave jobs, they leave people.
Mhm.
I stand in front of audiences of hundreds of people and every hand goes up. Yes, that's true.
Right.
But then I say, well, that means if you're losing people, they're leaving you. So you need to look in the mirror. Like, it's not everybody else this happens to. This happens to everybody.
Mhm.
Well, a big part of what we do over at Core Matters is we help people get really clear on their core. What does it mean to be that employer where people want to work and they want to stay? That boss they never want to leave, no matter what the offer is. We have clients that call me all the time. They're like, I just hired this guy for a $10,000 pay cut. I just hired this guy and he came over for the same amount of money he was making somewhere else because he just wanted to get away from his boss.
Mhm.
And I've had the other side where they call me and say, hey, my tech just came in. He told me he turned down a job with a $10,000 signing bonus.
Mhm.
Because when you become that employer that people want to work for, and you become that employer where people want to stay, like, it transforms your business. And it makes it so much easier to do what you were talking about, which is getting people excited about the trades again. Like,
Mhm.
the reason people aren't excited, the reason the kids aren't looking at it as a viable career choice, yes, number one, they don't know because we're not showing up as contractors. But
Right.
when they do know, they've talked to a mom or a dad or a relative or a friend.
Mhm. It's always
"I
in
do
the
not wanna
family.
do this. Stay away.
Yeah.
Go work somewhere else." Like, they
Yeah.
don't even give me paid time off for 5 years. Like, "Go run." Like,
Mhm.
that's the problem, is we have a marketing issue in the trades is really what it is. It's a marketing issue. It's a reputation issue.
Mhm.
And when we solve that, which is one of the first things we do when we're working with our company partners, is they get really clear on who they are, who they want to be, where they're going, why people would want to work there, and they start promoting it. They start
Mhm.
marketing it. I'm a marketer at heart. I'm not an HR
Mhm.
person. People confuse that all the time. Like, oh, you're an HR guy. No.
Yeah.
HR is compliance and rules, and I am the biggest rule breaker there is out there.
Right. You
So I'm
have to
not an
be if
HR
you're in
guy.
marketing.
Yeah. This is a marketing problem to solve. Even when we're interviewing and hiring and onboarding, those are all marketing problems. It's communication. And that's what we're not good at in the trades. So that's a big part of what we help solve when we work with
Yeah.
these contractors.
Yeah, I know we talked a lot about HR and marketing roles and how they have to work together to attract top talent for sure. Most of these companies, they have an HR person, but because they're smaller businesses, they can't afford to hire a full-time marketer. And HR people, they're cut from a different cloth. I mean, then and they're throwing all these marketing jobs on the HR people, but they don't want to do the marketing.
Yeah.
So it's really
What
important to
I've
get those
there's some irony in this, but what I found is most HR people don't like people. They like their spreadsheets
because
and their
they're
reports.
dealing with all the problems.
And that's probably why they don't like people. They're like, there's nothing I haven't heard. Like, stay away. But
Right.
when you say, hey, how can you attract someone to the business? They're like, I don't
Mhm.
know. Like, that's
Yeah.
not their expertise. Like, we need to keep our HR people in their lane and let them do what they do best, which is protect our people, protect our company. But we've got to get marketing and sales, and we've got to get leadership involved in solving this problem. We can't just throw it to an HR person and say, go figure this out for me. Because if they have no influence over the company's culture or how the company communicates, there's nothing they can do.
Yeah, so sticking on that topic, what marketing and recruiting activities can be used to maintain our talent pipeline?
Well, one of the things that we encourage all of our clients to do, and I would encourage anybody listening to do this, is go to Google or whatever your favorite search engine is today and search for a job at your company. See what comes up. Take a step back and say, would I want to work here based on what the search engines are telling me about the company? Because most of the time, one of two things are going to happen. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, those Yelp reviews are killing me, right? Because Google likes Yelp. So it posts it front and center. Those Google reviews are front and center. And if those reviews are like horrible place to work, or, the people are so unruly, or the bosses micro you, like whatever they say, like, you got to fix that. And that's going to keep you from having that reputation of excellence that people are like, I want to work there. So that's the first thing. So you're either going to find some bad stuff, or what's more than likely going to happen is going to be crickets, or it's going to be your competition's websites. It's going to be your competition's information, because you've done nothing to market your business, especially in construction. Construction is a belly-to-belly, face-to-face, old school relationship business. Most of them don't even think about a website or social media or anything like that. A lot of times contractors will tell me, I have a website because it gives me credibility. Like, when I submit a bid, if they Google me and can't find my website, they don't think I'm legit. They've never thought, what about the places where my reputation exists? The online reviews, the social platforms, even Glassdoor. If no one's ever heard of Glassdoor, it's a place for employees to leave reviews. That's specifically what it's designed for. And if you aren't intentional and don't take control of those channels, somebody else is going to write the conversation for you. So you need to be active. You need to be controlling that.
And this younger generation, they're definitely following all the companies ahead of time. My one intern, she just got hired with Hit Contracting. I said, how did you learn about the job? She said, LinkedIn. So, I mean, you have to be showing up on social and those platforms, so yeah. So we were talking about email lists too, and like building and selling your bench of candidates. How can companies create an exclusive email list for, to start building your pipeline?
So there are a bunch of ways you can add people to your bench. And just so that everybody knows, a bench is a list of pre-qualified candidates, people that have raised their hand and said, hey, I'd love to join your team, but for whatever reason, either they're not qualified today, something came up and they weren't able to make the interview, or you just filled positions. You're like, I don't need anybody right now, but they've still raised their hand. Put them on a list to continue to market to them, to promote to them, to share with them what's going on, why they would want to leave their current employer. Not everybody's ready to leave right now, but there will be a time, might be 6 months from now, where they get passed over for that raise or that promotion, or their boss just rips into them for one stupid little mistake. And they're like, that's it, I'm done. Well, if you are not top of mind because you have not been in front of them via email, text message, social, whatever that is, they're just going to go whoever's the closest. Right? They're going to call a friend and be like, whatever. But imagine that they, for the last 6 months, have been getting your emails, getting your text messages. Your ads have been following them around on social. They're like, this company, like, it's a sign. This is where I need to go work.
Right.
So we do this all the time for customers, but we never think of doing it for employees. And so a couple of ways. Number one, if you are getting applications from any job board, or if you have an applicant tracking system, which is a software tool that helps with all of this, those people that have applied have raised their hand and say, I want to work there, right? So that's a great place to start building your bench. Another one is the people that are following you on social. Believe it or not, employees will follow your company if you're active, because they want to know what's going on. Another one that we see is a lot of guys want to know about career path. Like how can I go from where I'm at today making $18 an hour? How can I get to 35 or 40 like I hear about in the news? And unless you go to a union that explains to you their apprenticeship program and how to get there, most smaller contractors have never thought about putting something together.
Right.
Put together a very simple one-pager. This is our career path. You're going to start out entry level. Then you're going to become an apprentice. And it doesn't, when I say apprentice, I just mean you're training them. It doesn't mean you have an apprenticeship program, right?
Right.
We're going to train you. And then you're going to become a journeyman. And then after that, you can become a lead man or a foreman. And it's a one-pager that just shows this progression. And one of the things I like to do is put it behind a paywall. Say, hey, give us your email address and we'll send you the career path, complete with salaries, timing, everything, so you know what you're getting into when you get into the trades.
Yeah.
It takes
like
half
that.
a minute to put that together because you already know it. And
Yeah.
now people are opting in saying, I want to know more. Another one that we've done is with companies that are really big on culture and they talk a lot about their values and they showcase a lot of employee testimonials. For that kind of stuff, we can actually create a careers newsletter that talks specifically about the careers in the industry, what's happening, what changes are happening in the industry. And so all of this information that we're receiving as leaders, we're now digesting it and putting it back out there for people in the marketplace. We have a client that's got like 6,000 people on their bench. And they've just got a little banner running at the bottom of their website that says, join our careers newsletter. It starts off with an email with a video from the president, talks about some culture stuff, and then it just starts sharing industry information. And once you have this list built, now it's really easy when you're like, I need a foreman. Don't spend money on Indeed. Email your list. Right?
Yeah. I think a lot of contractors wait until they need that need, and then they do everything last minute. When I'm building out websites for my clients, they're like, well, we're not hiring right now, so I don't want to like put a careers page down. I was like, no, you need a careers page because you should be accepting applications all year long because you don't know who you're going to find, and you have to keep, talking to them. But half the websites don't even tell you what positions they hire for. So you should be putting that on your careers page and your company culture, so people can learn about your company. So when you do hire, you
Yeah.
can, put that out there. You shouldn't be waiting last minute or when you have the need. Like,
Yeah.
we can't afford to do that anymore, so
And I tell people too, it's like, and just like you don't have a need to hire, half of the great people out there don't have a need to switch jobs right now.
yeah,
They're
that's a good
researching.
point. Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
looking. Like if they don't find you,
Mhm.
they can't come work for you. And I
Yeah.
think that is one of the biggest problems. So we have the reputation side, but I think even bigger than that is people don't know who you are. They don't
Mhm.
know that you have opportunities for them. They don't know that you're hiring because
Mhm.
you've done nothing to promote it. You do like what you said. Oh, Jack just quit. I got to go find a new foreman. So you call up your HR team and you're like, hey, can you spin that ad up that we wrote like 12 years ago? Can you put that
I
on
know.
Indeed? Yeah,
Yeah.
throw whatever money you have at it. Just get us applicants because they have this
Mhm.
belief that if I get 100 applicants this weekend, there's got to be a good foreman in there.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, I don't have time for this.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, so always be planning for that. Always be ready to hire. Always be promoting jobs, right? You can
So
put them on your website and not violate any rules if you're not hiring. And when they
yeah,
come in,
just
says, hey, great, we got your application. We'd love to talk to you. Interview the person.
Mhm.
And just say, hey, right now, we're probably like 9 months before this new job mobilizes, before we're going to be able to get started and bring you on. I'd love to stay connected with you. Like, there's no
Yeah,
rules against that.
right. That's smart. That's so smart. Like, start developing the relationships. Like, it just takes time. You
You know,
can't
we
just
have
throw
this,
out a job description and expect to hire someone tomorrow. It doesn't work like that anymore.
saying over here at Core Matters. It's like, why is it that we always have time to do it over, but we never have time to do it right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Let's do it right. Let's build the careers page. Let's plan for this. Let's put the ads out there. Let's let people know that we're growing. Let's make it so that people can find us. Because then we don't have to do it over and over and over again.
Mhm.
Because last time I checked, that's the definition of insanity, which for
Definitely.
a lot of contractors, they feel that way. Like, this is insane. Why are we doing this?
There's also so much copying from, like, they just look at their competitor's job ad and then just copy the same thing almost. It's like, no, you got to be different if you want to stand out. So,
Yeah,
can you tell us more about some best practices for compelling job descriptions or job ads?
sure. Sure. So, two things. First one is we've already talked about this. People don't leave jobs, they leave people.
Hmm.
So, the next time you're looking to recruit somebody, speak to the things that they're looking for. They're not looking for a place to swing a wrench, they're looking for a different place. So, make the job ad about the place, make the job ad about the people, make the job ad about the way you communicate and the training and the growth opportunities and how you invest in your people, because that's what people are looking for. They're not looking for the must be able to lift 50 pounds, must be able to weld, must be able to have this certification, must have reliable transportation. They know all that stuff.
Right.
Like if you're hiring an electrician or you're hiring a welder, they know what a welder does.
Hmm.
You don't need to repeat all that to them. Now, do you want to make sure that you're only getting the best of the best? Absolutely. But
Hmm.
here's what I've learned. When I talk to contractors and I say, talk to me, what makes a great person? You know what they tell me? They tell me, I want someone that shows up on time. I want
Hmm.
someone that has reliable transportation. I want someone that treats us with respect. I want someone that follows safety. I want someone that is a team player. They never say, oh, I need someone that can operate this equipment, or I need
Yeah,
someone
because
that
they'll
can do
teach
this.
them that on the job.
You're going to teach them anyways.
Right.
And no matter what, people are like, oh, I don't have time to teach. No, you do have time to teach because you're going to teach them to do it your way anyways. We
Hmm.
all do it. But the things that people want, you can't teach. I can't teach someone to get out of bed on time. I just can't
Hmm.
do it.
Hmm.
So those are the things we need to be looking at. Those are the things we need to do. So that's the first thing. People don't leave jobs, they leave people. So promote the people.
Hmm.
Now, if you've got horrible people working there and you've got a toxic culture, like you need to fix that first. Like if you're
Hmm.
not proud of your people, fix that first. So that's the first one. So that's the first part, is to just go in with that mindset of what is it people are looking for. Right.
Hmm.
And nobody, I don't care. I will argue this with anybody listening that disagrees with me. Nobody leaves for $1 more an hour. Nobody leaves for more money. They are not looking for money. They are looking for someone to invest in them. That's what they
Hmm.
want. Career path, growth, training opportunities. Heck, even help me with my personal budget. Like there are
Hmm.
people that we have a client that says their goal is for everyone to retire a millionaire. And they put that out there in their ads. And they've backed it up. They've got Smart Dollar, they've got Financial Peace University, they've got 401k, and they've got advisors that come in and teach financial planning. They back that up because that's what people want.
Hmm.
Nobody wants to work for you for 30 years and have nothing to show for it. So
Do
that's
you
one
have,
piece. Go
yeah,
ahead.
go ahead. I was just gonna say, do you have any other examples of companies getting creative with their messaging like that,
Yeah.
with how they're gonna help you?
So the generations are a little different. Like millennials want something different than Gen Z, and the boomers are getting ready to retire. They just want to just sail off into the sunset. But when we look at the generational differences, the one thing they all have in common, they want to be invested in. They want
Hmm.
the training, they want the growth, they want a career path. They want someone that's going to say, "Hey, I'm going to help you make your life better."
Hmm.
Not because I pay top dollar, because the companies that I found that pay top dollar, that are really out there, really paying, buying the market with signing bonuses and everything else, they're not good companies to work for.
Right, and
And
they
they
end
know
up.
they have to pay that as like a bribe to get people to stay. And it works, right? There's a
Hmm.
point at which you can bribe your people to stay with inside of a toxic company.
Hmm.
Um, but one of the things that we found is, especially in construction, a lot of people that have English as a second language, right? A
Hmm.
lot of
I'm
Hispanic, a
hearing
lot
a
of
lot
Spanish
about
speakers.
this. Yeah.
Right. And so what we do is we say, you know what we're going to do? We're going to buy the Babel or the Rosetta Stone or whatever. We're going to do this language training, and we're going to give it to all of our Spanish speakers and teach them English,
Hmm.
which, yeah, that's okay. But what if we bought the other way around and we gave it to all our English speakers and taught them Spanish? So now our superintendents and our foremans, they all speak Spanish, at least enough to communicate on the job. And they don't have to be fluent. What does that do for retaining the guys that speak Spanish? Like, I've worked at so many companies where they don't even bother.
They don't even try. Yeah.
There's one guy that speaks Spanish and I got to wait 3 weeks for him to show up at the job site. But imagine that your superintendent could have a conversation with you about what you did this weekend, or how the kids are doing, how your wife is feeling. Because he chose to invest in learning your language, not forcing you to learn ours.
And there's even, I mean, you don't even have to learn the language. There's so many tools now out there that, there's some contractors that have a list of Spanish words in like an Excel spreadsheet. We don't need that anymore. Like, get rid of that stuff. I've had somebody come on twice now to talk about their new software. Need to say. And that you can talk, you have this app now that you can communicate. You can speak in English directly to the person and will translate in real time.
Yeah.
So there's no excuses for that. But that would be a really good selling point that, we, have these things in place to make it easy and more effective to communicate with everybody in the field.
We had a commercial landscape contractor, did a ton of construction jobs. And forget what it was, but they had like 500 guys in the field and like 450 of them were Spanish speaking. And when I asked the team what was going on, they're like, well, that's just, I mean, it was in the Southwest. That's what we get and everything else. And I said, so why is it that you're struggling to recruit? Why is it that your website's not in Spanish? Why aren't your job ads in Spanish? Why aren't your interview guides in Spanish? Why aren't you doing these things? And they told me, they're like, we never thought of it. Take a step back, put yourself in their shoes and say, what is it that they would want? And then go be that. And that's what I was going to say about the second part of the ad. So the first part is what you say, but the second one is how you say it. So when you're writing compelling ads, think of it as a marketing piece. I use this example in a lot of my talks where you've got the Corvette Z71, right? That's $200,000 sports car. And Chevy has two ways they promote it. One is through their ads, and then one is through the window sticker, right? So I play this 1 minute commercial of people going around a racetrack, the roar of the engine, the wind, the smiles on their faces. And they're selling a $200,000 car in a 60-second commercial of people and lifestyle and enjoying it and living life and going, I want to pay for that. Or we have this window sticker, a bulleted list of all the features and benefits, all the options and upgrades. Oh, and look at that. And the price. There's no price in that first ad. Now, and which one do our job ads look like? They look like the window sticker.
Yeah, they're terrible. I mean, you see them on all the trucks too. We're hiring now. Same benefits that everyone else is offering, same language. It's like, why would I pick this company over this company? You're not even giving me like a clear decision.
And we all want to hire A players, right? Like we all want to hire rock star talent. That's what we want to do. Yet we don't know how to promote our rock star team. Show me a time when a top tier player went to go play for a horrible team. It doesn't happen. When you're a top tier player, you get to pick where you play and you want to play on a good team. So make sure that they know you're a good team, market it, promote it, make it compelling and exciting. Now, back to the thing I did say about price, you do have to put pay on your job ads. You have to, you get 30% more applications, but it's at the bottom and it's not what people are looking for. They want you to suck them in and go, I want to work there. I see myself working there. Create videos. We do a lot of recruiting videos. We talk about that. We give them storyboards and we're like, go take your iPhone and go film it. I don't care. It doesn't need to be overly produced. Just make it authentic. That's what people want.
Right. And once you have that video, it works for you. It might seem costly up front, but that video works for you for years down the line. So you gotta look at it as an investment for like at least 5 to 10 years.
And don't worry about it if people aren't there anymore. I had one company, they're like, I have this recruit. I'm like, I love this video. And they're like, he's not here anymore. She's not here anymore. Nobody knows that. Stop telling people that.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, video is so powerful. Just will drive traffic to your career page and, it tells the story in 30 seconds sometimes or less. And
Yep.
um especially for the construction industry, because when you're looking at a job description, it's so flat. And if you did like a day in the life of an HVAC tech or a plumber or something at your company, because every company is different on how they handle things. Like even if you take one mechanical contractor, like one's working on retail jobs, one might be working on large hospital projects, another one might be focused on like schools. Like those are all different experiences of a work life that you get as an HVAC tech. That's why, and you can't describe that in a one-page job description.
Yeah.
So, and that's important to the person that wants to come work for your company, because if they're like, oh my God, I want to work on those hospital projects, they're awesome. Or like, or maybe they're the type of person that just wants to do like repetitive stuff. So like, and this contractor works on data centers all the time. It's usually the same type of deal. But like telling those stories and, we know everybody in the construction industry, they're always pointing and proud of the work that they do.
Yeah.
So I say talk about the projects the
Yeah.
most and the difference that you make in those videos. That's what's going to attract the right people to come work for you.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's really important. So, we talked about job ads. Oh, the candidate's perspective. I wish my company and my boss did that. We hear that a lot.
Yeah.
Um, so becoming employer of choice. What would you say are some of the top tips or that make a candidate want to come work for you?
Yeah. So becoming an employer of choice, the way we define that is you're a place people want to work and you're a place where people want to stay.
Hmm.
It's that simple. And I think the first thing, the most important thing is getting really clear on who you are. If you don't understand how your people should behave or what we define as your core values, the things that are most critical to the way your organization operates, if people don't understand where you're going, right? We've all heard about this metaphor of your business is a bus, right? Jim Collins said, get the right people in the right seats. That was a big
Hmm.
thing. Well, if your bus is just running around in circles, like people are like, I want to get off this bus. I'm going to be sick.
Yeah.
But also, if your bus is going somewhere where they don't want to go, that can be a challenge as well. So you've got to be really clear on the vision of your company, where you're going, and then why you do what you do. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what gets you out of bed to do this work on the days you don't want to get out of bed? You've got to be really clear on that because
Hmm.
you need to attract the people that buy into that. They're like, that's why I get out of bed on the days I don't want to get out of bed to do this work. When
Yeah.
you align that, magic happens inside of your business. Like you get everybody rowing in the same direction, you can overcome anything when that
Hmm.
happens. And that's just one part of being an employer of choice.
Yeah.
Another part that we're big on is trust. I mentioned that. That was part of my dad's story, is find people you can trust. Here's the thing about trust. If you are not a high trust leadership team, if you do not have the trust of your people, how can you expect to trust them when they don't trust you?
Hmm.
It's a big piece. So you have to start looking internally and saying, how do we become better? How do we really make sure that what we say and what we do align? Because when they don't, people aren't going to trust you. And when they don't trust you, they don't care where you're going. They don't care how
Hmm.
you behave. If they don't trust you, they're looking to get off that bus as fast as possible.
Right.
And then another thing is, if you're not focused on growing the company, if there's not an emphasis on growth, if your business is stagnant, you're hitting the same 3% growth every single year and you're like okay with that. And if you're in construction, you're growing 3% a year, your company's dying because the margins are not good enough to support that. Well, guess what? If I'm working for you, that career path we talked about in the beginning, it's non-existent. There's no
Hmm.
way for me to grow. If the company's not growing, I can't grow. So why would I want to stay? I might want to work there because I like some of the other things, but I'm not going to want to stay.
Hmm.
And so those are just a few of the things that we look at when becoming an employer of choice. That if you can solve those three things, becoming an employer of choice is so much easier. But then There's the reputation. There are other things, like we have already talked about the reputation. What's the world saying about you? What are you saying about you? What's real? What's authentic? So a lot of the work that we do over here at Core Matters is getting companies clear on this stuff, helping
Yeah.
them be able to share this information with the public, with these employees that are looking for a new home, helping them get in front of the next generation of workers and going, whoa, that's not my dad's construction industry. That's different.
Mhm.
And that's what we need. You mentioned it early on. Like, you need to stand out. You need to be different. You can't be like everybody else. Because right now, the word on the street is construction is a horrible place to work. They don't care for their people. They don't take care of their people. They're just in it to make a buck. They'll get rid of you the second that the job's over. Like, there's a lot of this stuff that we believe about the industry that is absolutely not true.
There's a
Every
lot of great
contractor I
companies
know
out there. Yeah.
will bleed for their people. Like, will
Right.
do whatever it takes. But they don't know how to get credit for that. They don't know how to communicate that. They don't know how to market that. And that's
Right.
the problem that we need to solve in this industry.
Yeah. We had someone that came on the podcast not too long ago, Ed from EDA, and something he said really stuck with me. So the first 5 years contractors are in business, they're so ingrained in the hustle. So they're not really thinking about their purpose and recruiting and all that. But after like 3 to 5 years, they're ready for that growth period. And
Mhm.
it's like they have to reevaluate their company. And I think that's where your company can kind of come in. But they need help with, they're so like, their selling point for the first 5 years is just like quality work, reliability, integrity, like things like that. But then you have to think broader than that because that's what everybody else promises.
Yeah.
So, like defining your mission, your vision, your values, and getting that really aligned. Because I don't think they spend a lot of time the first 5 years really diving into that or figuring out their bigger purpose and how they can make an impact.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's true.
it's really important. Well, this was a great conversation. I appreciate you coming on. If
Thank
people
you.
want to learn more about you and your company, where can they connect with you?
Well, you mentioned LinkedIn. I am on LinkedIn as well. So it's a great place to connect. And we share a lot of tools and content on LinkedIn, as well as promote our podcast, Titans of the Trades. Uh, but the website is a great resource, great tool, corematters.com. And we didn't talk about it, but I wrote a book called Hire Better People Faster. And
Hmm.
for anybody that's interested in doing more of a deep dive, a technical how-to deep dive, it's not packed with strategy and like, how do I do that? Like, we walk you through it step by step. Anybody that's interested in that book, I've got a free copy available for them at corematters.com/free book. Just a small shipping and handling fee. I'll autograph a copy and I'll mail it out. And you guys can learn all of the tips and tricks and secrets to really making it easier to hire the right people.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for joining us and have a great day and we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
All right, have a good one. All right, wrapping up here, and I wanted to talk about who we have on this show next week. We have Jason Schroeder. He's going to talk about lean construction, planning out projects. Jason's a very busy man. I've been trying to get him on the show for the past 2 years, so we're really excited to have him. We're going to talk about why projects must be planned, how to properly enable and prepare trade partners ahead of work in the trade partner preparation process. And he's going to talk more about pre-construction and design too. So we're excited to have him next week and hope you guys all have a great week.